Hi guys, so here Anwari here, co-founder of Sublime Trading, here with your update for the UK and US indices for Wednesday the 27th of May. Alright guys, hope you're well, hope you've had a great week so far. So starting with the FTSE 100, we had bullishness yesterday. That bullishness has continued through today and currently price is trading above the high of April. If we get a break and a close above the high of April, then we could see strength back to the 200 moving average. So need to see how the day ends to get a real understanding of what we could see through tomorrow and into Friday. Moving across to the US market, the S&P 500 is currently trading above the 200 simple moving average. So we've had a gap up on the open of play today, and price is currently above the 200 moving average. Now we saw this yesterday as well with a move of around 1.5% to the upside. That was a gap up of over 1.5%, but then the S&P 500 closed below the 200 moving average. Currently price is above the 200 moving average with another gap up. If we see a close above the 200 moving average, then that will be positive for a potential bullish market overall bias, and we can then start looking for long opportunities. So once again, a bit of a waiting game to see how the S&P 500 ends the day. But if we do get that close above the 200 moving average, then we'll certainly be looking to start placing long trades. The Dow Jones still trading below the 200 moving average. The Nasdaq very much leading the way and moving towards that all-time high. So let's move into the charts and get a closer understanding of what's happening with price action. So guys, if you're new to these daily updates, then I recommend starting with the recording that's pinned to the top of our Facebook page so that you get a good understanding of what I go through in these charts. As always, this is our 3-screen setup. We have the monthly in the top left, weekly in the top right, and our daily chart down here across the bottom. Starting with the monthly time frame, we can see that the month of May is bullish and it's also trading above that 6,000 round number, currently around 6119. On the weekly, prices below the 200 and the 50 simple moving averages. The trend, the candlestick for this week is looking bullish, but we want to see price breaking close above that high of April. I've marked that on the daily time frame. Price is below the 200 moving average, but you can see the high of April here. If I just open up the daily time frame, we can see there's been a little bit of change since I've done my intro recording, and that is that the bears have come in and pushed price back down. So price is now back below the high of April, which is acting as an area of resistance. So price is still inside this area of consolidations, finding supports at the 20 simple moving average. Ultimately, we want to see price breaking close above this level and then strength towards that 200 moving average. For now, price is still inside this area of consolidation. So let's see how the day ends. Moving to the US market, starting with the Dow Jones. The month of May is very much looking bullish, but still inside the annual levels of last year. On the weekly time frame, price above the 200 moving average. We can see we had a gap up and that bullishness has continued. That gap has injected some momentum into the bulls, and there's been a continuation since that gap up to the upside. So a bullish looking week so far, but price is still below the 50 simple moving average. But open up the daily time frame, we can see that price is still below the 200 moving average, but above the 20 simple moving average. We had a gap up yesterday, and that continuation to the upside following that gap up. Price is now above the high of April, so we have new highs for May. Another gap up today at the start of play today, but a bearish looking candlestick so far. Ultimately though, we are seeing momentum towards that 200 moving average. Moving to the S&P 500, we can see that May is also looking bullish, but inside the annual levels of last year. On the weekly time frame, price above the 200 moving average. We can see that this week's candlestick is trading around the 50 simple moving average and still just below that 3,000 round number. If I open up the daily time frame, we can see that price is currently trading around the 200 moving average. So both yesterday and so far today, bearish looking days. What we want to see is a convincing close above the 200 moving average. So again, this looks different from when I did my intro recording. It was a bullish looking candlestick, but the bears have since come in and started pushing price back down. Ultimately, what we want to see, as already mentioned, is a bullish looking candle above the 200 moving average. But this is looking positive. We've had a gap up here, momentum, another gap up, a bit of momentum, although really the bears are starting to push price back down. This gap could fill. Really, we want to see price find an area of support and then continuation to the upside. So still waiting for that close above the 200 moving average. So a little bit of patience still needed for now. But remember, the end of day candlestick could look very, very different. Moving to the Nasdaq, very much leading the way. Monthly time frame trading above price. The month of May is looking bullish and it's trading above the high of last year, just short of the current all-time high. On the weekly, price above the 200 and the 50 simple moving average. This week's candlestick is looking bearish. And if you come down to the daily time frame, price is above all three moving averages. Yesterday, gap up, but the bears came in, filled the gap. That momentum has continued to the downside. So price is looking to potentially fill this gap, come back down to the 20 simple moving average, or it could find support at the top of the gap and we could see a bounce back to the upside. Ultimately now what we're waiting for is a break and a close above yesterday's price action and then a continuation towards the current all-time high. If you look at the moving averages as well, the 20 is above the 50, the 50 is above the 200, so moving averages are aligning as well on the Nasdaq. Okay, so that is me for today, guys. Please like, comment and share. Let's get people understanding how to use these indices correctly. Still a little bit of patience needed until we get that close on the S&P 500 above the 200 moving average. So I'll be back tomorrow with an update.